She was found dead by her only son on her 52nd birthday. Kath Groom, a much-loved mum, sister and daughter, died after waiting for an ambulance that never came. A code 1, suspected heart attack. She deserved better. All Australians deserve better. Her family forever haunted by the question, if help had arrived, would Kath be alive today? Kath's sister, Beck McQuilty, joins me. And Beck, we're just so very sorry for everything that's happened, and even saying that almost feels empty. But how are you holding up?
Not well, to be honest. It's a lot, as anybody could imagine. It's just uncomprehendable what's happened, Ali, and yeah, I'm numb, I'm sad, I'm devastated, I'm all the things.
Yeah. And your nephew Nicholas, that's Kath's only child, how's he?
He's gone from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in the space of 24 hours. You know, on Friday morning, we're at school celebrating his graduation from high school, and literally 24 hours later, he's finding his mother, you know, deceased unnecessarily. So he's numb, he's angry, and he's got a really long road ahead of him.
You mentioned that Friday. How was Kath? Because this is her only son. He's just graduated from high school, and I mean, I imagine especially rewarding considering she raised him on her own.
Yeah, look, absolutely. It had been such a long road with his dad passing when he was just a baby, and you know, Kath, with our family support, raising him to get to such a incredible point of his high school graduation, and just to be so proud of him on that day. I could see it in her face that she was just, you know, so proud.
And then how quickly things can change. What happened later that night that saw Nicholas calling the emergency number multiple times?
Kath was complaining of severe chest pain. She was vomiting profusely, and she had pain between her shoulder blades, which is, to anyone, classic signs of a heart attack. And Nicholas very quickly called 000.
So it was a code 1, and that makes it a top priority. An ambulance should have been there in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Instead, what happened?
He called multiple times, I know, over an hour and a half, and nobody showed up.
How scared was he in that hour and a half when his mum was so obviously sick and help didn't come?
For a young boy to have to see his mum like that it shouldn't happen. He was petrified. He didn't know what to do. He's been taught through, you know, all his life that you can rely on these people, and to make a phone call to 000 and them not be there for him when they should have been is just blatant neglect.
And Beck, I know you feel similarly to me on this. This is not on the paramedics. They are hard-working, but it is the system here that has failed, right?
Absolutely. And look, if there is just one thing that I can say in regards to the paramedics that did eventually show up on Saturday, when it was all too late, they were amazing. And I just think that all paramedics and emergency services are worn out and tired because they are so under-resourced. And that is why, you know, my sister wasn't attended to. It's an absolute disgrace. You know, it falls so heavily on their shoulders as well.
So after an hour and a half waiting for an ambulance, Kath was so exhausted she wanted to go to bed. So Nicholas rang just before midnight and cancelled that request. We now know that at some stage Kath got up and went to the bathroom but collapsed and died, and it was her 52nd birthday, Beck.
Yeah. Yep, she was found by her only child on her birthday.
And I know Nicholas rang you in a panic. You and your mum raced over. I mean, I just think this hits all of us, hearing this. That scene, no doubt, will haunt you for a long time.
To be honest with you, it is something that I think for Nicholas and I will never, ever forget what we had to see that day. And for him to call us here at my home, and thankfully my mum was here with me, and just all that I hear was him saying, "Nan, it's Mum, you know, please come, please hurry." And he had already called emergency services by this time on Saturday. And for us to, you know, gather our things, and for my mum and I and my little girl to get into the car and get over there, which is about a 10-minute drive. And then to get there, and him, I will never forget the look on his face of just absolute despair. And he didn't want me going inside, but I had to go and make sure that what he was saying was true. And that, you know, you just think sometimes, like, is there just anything that I can do? And it was very evident, obviously, that when I got in there with her, that there was absolutely nothing that I could do. And, you know, for a child to have to come out and tell their mother that her child has gone, no, she should never have had to go through that, and I should never have had to have told her that. But yeah, it's unbelievable. But in all of that happening, I then turn around and we still don't have an ambulance.
And Beck, how is your mum? Because no parent should ever have to outlive their child.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest thing for me, is to watch her in just absolute... she'll never come back from this. And in fact, on that Saturday morning, she herself was taken to the ER from just complete shock and her own heart. So I have my sister deceased in the house. I have my mum in the ER. You know, it just no family, Ali, should ever have to go through what our family has gone through.
Has gone through and is still going through, Beck. And had that ambulance come, there's the very real chance your sister would be alive today. How do you reconcile that?
You don't. There is no excuse. There is no reasoning it. It just, that's the facts. If they had have shown up, if they had have had the resources and are spending money on ambulances and hospitals and all of the health that they should be focusing on, instead of focusing on what they can do for Olympic Games, you know, put some more money into our hospital system and our health system, maybe. I mean, it's too late for my family. It's too late, but maybe that can save somebody else.
Beck, I spoke to the Queensland Health Minister and the Ambulance Commissioner yesterday. Both were so sorry and said this should never have happened. Does that bring you any comfort?
No, because the reality of it is it did happen. And their job is to protect the community. Their job is to make sure that our health system is coping and that the workers of our health system are coping, and they're not. And that falls directly on their shoulders. It's just simply not good enough, Ali.
And look, ambulances queuing for hours at hospitals. You've got paramedics that are fatigued, even using their own cars to transport patients. Today, the whole computer system crashed. Do you have any faith that if you needed an ambulance tonight, it would come in time?
No, I 100% do not. Even in thinking about it last night, about, you know, what happens if I do need an ambulance, or I need an ambulance for my mum or my daughter, it just gives me anxiety, because I can't trust in the system. How can I after what's happened?
Not after what you and your family have experienced. And Kath lived in the Premier's electorate. Have you heard from Anastasia Palaszczuk?
Nope, no, not a thing. And that just speaks volumes in itself.
What do you want to see happen, Beck?
I want changes made. It's just, again, complete negligence, and it's just not okay. And they need to make changes. They need to give more funding. They need to put on more officers to be able to accommodate the increasing demand of, you know, why we're needing more paramedics. Why are the hospitals so full? Why are their staff, you know, being unwell and having time off? And the system is broken, if you ask me. And I can assure you that if any of these premiers or, you know, commissioners needed help for their family, they would expect an ambulance to turn up. But, you know, they get to get up in the morning and go to work and do all of the things. My sister doesn't get to do that anymore.
You want change, and I think that's so fair. We need to see that. And look, for Nicholas to have lost his mother, he has you and your wonderful mother and family around him. Is he going to be okay?
It's going to be he will never, ever get over this, ever. But I guess all that we can hope and pray for is that he one day can start to live somewhat of a normal life.
Well, Beck, you've shown so much strength speaking out as you have tonight. I know what it took to be able to do this. You're brave. You won't rest until something happens. I'm sure of that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ali.
It's pretty heavy, isn't it?